Well, thank you for joining me, and you guys have been so committed, and I so appreciate that. While you read the waiver, I just want to explain to you a little bit of what we're doing tonight and how it's a little bit different. We're going to work on holding positions, so sort of working isometrically, and then moving through positions. So we'll get a little bit of a blast right into the muscles, which I hope you will enjoy. All right. So we're going to start standing near your chair or your bar, whatever you're using, to sort of lean on. I'm just going to warm up a little bit. So chair to one side. Let's just come to a little V right next to it. Just give yourself a little space, just enough space to place your arm gently down. So we're going to take this outside arm, and we're going to start with big shoulder sweeps. So you'll inhale overhead, and you'll exhale to reach. And try not to move the torso too much. First, I'd like this to be right in the shoulder joint. If getting behind your head is too much for you, you could certainly do it right in front of your forehead. But we're trying to really move through that range of motion. And start your breath. So inhale to sweep, exhale to stretch and feel your inner thighs connect one more time. And now we're going to maybe add the torso. So the ribs are sort of circling as well as the shoulders here. We'll just try a few more. And this is where it's important to squeeze to the midline. So your low back especially feels protected. Just one more time. And then we'll just reach that arm up overhead, pull it wide a few times. Inhale up, exhale, pull wide. Inhale up, exhale, pull wide. Once more. And then when we set the arm and the shoulder, we are free to side bend here. So all in the ribs now. Inhale toward the bar, exhale nice and tall. A few more times. And think of drawing that pelvic floor up. Maybe even encouraging your glutes to squeeze toward one another and just really open up that side body. One more time. Lovely. Now from here, I'll turn a little so you can see me. We're going to squeeze those inner thighs together. We're going to take it to a flat back, so stretch arm and tips of ears away from tail. And then round over the legs, let your head drop. Inhale, reach back to flat. And then lift nice and tall, strong back body. And then a little bit of extension, so let the ribs open. Back down one more time. So we reach long, we round, your knees can soften here if you need to. Reach back to flat. Think hamstrings, glutes, lumbar spine to lift you up. And lift high. Turn and face that chair, the top of that chair. Walk yourself out to a little diagonal. We're going to slowly run, so take your time here. I want you to really feel the changes in the ankles. Notice what your knees are doing. You want to keep them nice and parallel. And then use your breath. This is a great exercise to really connect to breath. Couple more times for 3 and 2. Last one. And then bend the knees and come to a nice flat back here. You can spread the feet apart a little if you need to. Lift the heels, and then we're going to tuck the tail and reach it behind. Exhale, tuck that tail under. Inhale, reach back. Let the biceps frame the ears as you hollow that belly and reach back. Last 2. Last 1. And then place the heels back on the floor and unwind the spine. Come a little closer here. You take that right arm and stretch it in front of the left and then turn open to the right. So it's exhale to reach, inhale to stretch. So we want to find this movement through the midsection. Not so much in the hips, not just in the arm. Last 3. And 2. Last 1. And gently release. We'll repeat on the other side. So swivel around if you need to. A little V here. So inhale, begin circling that arm overhead. Exhale, reach out from the shoulder joint. Inhale. So keep your posture tall first. Try not to lift the top of the shoulder too much toward the ear. Last 2. Last 1 here. Inhale, breathe up. Exhale, pull down. Really feel the shoulders settle into the pocket. Last 3. Notice if your ribs are weaving down or if you're losing that connection. Last 1. Now lift the arm and settle the shoulder in the pocket as you side bend toward that bar. Inhale to stretch. Exhale to right your spine. I don't know about you, but I'm really enjoying this warm up tonight. I did some things today that were active, but didn't feel this good. Last two. Last one. And we need to go back to those torso rolls before I forget. So sweep the arm overhead, and this time let the ribs go with you. Inhale to turn toward the bar. Exhale, open away from it. Last three. Let the ribs follow the work of the shoulders. Last one. And then that little angle, lift the head up. We're going to find flat back, so really lift your belly. Soften your knees if you need to as you round over the legs. Inhale, lift head away from tail. Exhale, stand. Inhale, little extension. Exhale, right the spine. One more time. Inhale, reach long. Exhale, fold over those legs. Inhale, back to long. Exhale, up. Tiny extension and release. Facing that bar one more time. Let's walk the feet back again for little runs. So, you know, I always feel like if I'm practicing bar at night that I take it for granted that my ankles or knees or hips are warm. That's not always the case. So move through this with intention and breath. Last two. Last one. Keep those heels up. Let's bend the knees back to flat. Tuck that tail. Reach it long. Exhale, tuck. Inhale, reach. 3 more times. So let this be a warm up for the belly too. Last one. Land the heels. This time when you sit back, shift the weight side to side through the shoulders. So you're not moving knees or hips. You're moving through the shoulders. Still trying to warm up that really important joint. One more breath here. And then unwind and come to stand a little closer to the bar. Really feel nice and long. Balanced front to back as you stretch that left arm across the right. Open up and close. Inhale, twist the ribs. Exhale, reach over. A few more times, inhaling and exhaling. The head follows the spine, unless you're dizzy for some reason. Last 3. And 2. Last 1. And release. Beautiful job. All right, I hope you feel a little more mobile and fluid and ready to roll. So we're going to start with planking on the chair. So I would say use your seat and try to make the chair really sturdy against something. If it's not, if you feel like it's not going to be sturdy, then practice this on the floor. You're going to have your green band nearby. And we're just going to start with an elbow plank hold. So it's either on the chair or on the floor. Here's where my stopwatch comes in handy. Under my elbows, right under my shoulders, walk my legs back and hold here. So this is the isometric work. Even with the elbows elevated here, you want to feel like you're dragging them back toward the feet as you pull the feet forward toward the elbows. See if you can use that not to hike up the hips, but to get the abdominals really engaged. Keep sliding the shoulders away from your ears and your ears stacked right on top of them. Maybe you bend your knees a little and then extend again, lifting those thigh bones toward the ceiling. We're almost done here. Got about 10 more seconds. Put a little bit of effort between your shoulder blades so that you're not just relaxing into the joint. Last 5 seconds. For 3, 2, and 1. Step it together and release. All right, now we're going to take that work and kick it up a notch with the band. So the band is going to come under the right foot, and then it will be pinched between the hands and the chair. We're going to come to full plank. This might take a little bit of organization. Make sure you still have that same lift in the belly, palms under shoulders, and we're going to press the band out to the right. And we're going to try 20 times. So I'm on 5. I'll count for me. Make sure this motion is coming from your gluteal muscles. Use your exhale to press away. That's 10. And try not to sacrifice the form of the plank. Here's 13. Small is better. Only 5 more. You got this. 4, 3, 2. Last one, maybe you want to just take a little stretch before you switch to the other side. I'm going to put my left foot in, my right foot long, step back to that plank, making sure my navel is lifted, gazing toward my chair, exhale, pressing out to the left. Good, now, I know you can't see my working leg as much here, but you can see that my hips aren't rotating or lifting up and down at all. So that's 7. And that support leg is working as well. Here's 11, more than halfway there. Don't forget to breathe, it's such a help. Last 5, squeeze those glutes. 4, 3, and 2. Last one, and release. Nice job. All right, we'll put that band aside for a moment. We're gonna take the block, place it between the knees, and turn to face away from the seat. So our next little static hold is going to be a chair sit. So we're going to sit back as though we were trying to sit to the chair. Then, of course, we're going to hover. So reorganize your feet. Make sure they're nice and parallel. You're squeezing in on that block. Now, if your shoulders feel happy, you can reach those arms up overhead. If you feel cranky in the neck, you might want to pull the elbows wide like angel wings, reaching back toward your tailbone. Hold here. Keep this little zigzag. Now let's imagine each sitting bone really active in towards the tail. I'm going to hold here and breathe. And you might want to see how low you can challenge yourself to be without that low back arching, without the legs fatiguing too much. Of course, if you get really tired, you've got something to sit on. So breathe here. Stay into it. Check my watch. You're doing great. If you need to stand up and come out of this, please do. Otherwise, your breath is your friend. Your breath is your constant. And this constant squeezing in, this gathering in toward the midline. You've got 10 seconds left. We're almost there. You'll love the next part. 3, 2, and 1. Now stand up if you need to, but otherwise we're going to rest the hands lightly on these thighs. Lift the heels and lower. 20 times. So I'm not changing the shape I'm in. I'm not changing that little zigzag lightning bolt shape. I'm just floating the heels up and rolling the heels down. It's very tempting to want to sort of bounce with this. Try not to. That's halfway. Use your breath. Lots of lift in the belly so that low back stays long. That's 15. Not to push too heavy into the thighs. Here's 18, 19, control in both directions, 20, and release. Never thought it would feel so good to stand. All right, block aside for a minute. Okay. Now we're gonna use the side of the chair as a bar again. All right, let's get into the calf muscles. So, little V here. We're gonna sweep up to releve, bring that outside arm up, walk the heels together, and squeeze and hold. That's all it is. So there are a lot of things that can go wrong with form here. We can start to let the ribs lift and arch the back. We don't want to let that happen. The arm can creep up by the ear. We don't want that to happen. And we can get very sort of lackadaisical in this shape. So squeeze your heels together, squeeze your inner thighs together, and squeeze your bottom together in the back. So a few more breaths here. Try to imagine your calf muscles really coming alive. And if you don't feel the calf work, maybe lower your heels a little, not all the way to the mat, but just to a hover. You're almost there for 4, and 3, 2, and 1. Lower those heels, step out to second position. And we're gonna lift 20 times. Now you might feel the work. 8, 9 little breaths, 10. You've got this. Lift your kneecaps. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Release. We are going to do the same thing on the other side because your arm was involved. So little V. Actually, let's switch it up this time. Let's step to the second for the hold first. We're going to sweep up, lifting the arms and the legs. Hold and breathe. Good. So here, instead of telling you what not to do, I'll tell you what to do. Feel that shoulder sort of settle down in its pocket. Feel the ribs breathing together and down, connected to the hips through the obliques. Feel activity in your gluteal muscles so that your calves aren't just working by themselves. Feel the quads kick in. Feel energy to the midline. And feel strong and long in your postural muscles, especially the little intercostal muscles between the ribs and the multifidus muscles that run on the sides of the spine. For 3, 2, relax. Bring those heels together. This time when we float up, 20 pulses. Use your breath. I feel this now. 8, 9, we're halfway there. If it's too much for you, take a break. You've got this. 15, 16, try not to bang the joint. 17, 18, 19, 20. I'm gonna face my chair and just stretch my calves out for a moment. I'll reach 1 foot behind me and land the heel, and then lean my weight away from that heel, feeling nice elongation in that back of that leg and switch sides. All right, land the opposite heel, little sort of shift forward with the front foot. Wow, I had fun with that one. All right, one more breath here and shake it out. All right, let's grab that green band again. Let's get into the arms a little, which might feel very nice after working the legs so much. Okay, we stand on the band, equal work here. And for this first one, for the isometric hold, you want to choke up on the band quite a bit. You want to create quite a bit of tension. We're going to come back to a very small chair here. Hug those elbows back toward the ribs. Hold the hand up until you feel resistance, maybe halfway between ribs and shoulders, and just hold. So, of course, here we're being mindful of the low back, but what we want to think about here is a wide collarbone smile, a nice presenting forward of the chest, actually squeezing the band in our hands, hugging the elbows in, and finding work in the belly of the biceps, so right in the middle of those muscles. Making sure your knees aren't rolling in or out, nice and parallel. Hold for 10 more seconds here. You've completely got this. For 4, for 3, for 2. Last one, press the floor away. Now we're gonna want a little more give in the band for this next one. We wanna actually be able to move. So for this, we're gonna have a little turnout. We're gonna sweep out, curl in and out, and back in. So see what you want after that hold for resistance. Out, bend, extend, in. Sweep out, bend, extend, in. Exhale, exhale. So now why I love band work. It is work in both directions. And I'm also going to work this whole time not to round. Really stay open. Good. Alternate your breath. I don't really mind if you choose your own breathing pattern. It's helpful to exhale where the work gets hard for you. Now, if you start to feel this work in your neck, stay here and just curl. Keep it a little lower. 5 more. You've got this. 4 more. Last 3. And 2. Last 1. And release. Boy, I felt that one as well. All right. For this next one, we're going to use the chair. So once more, you want sturdiness. So if you feel like you need to place your chair up against something, that's fine. So from here, we're going to turn around, place the hands on the chair, and walk ourselves slightly forward. Rolling the shoulders back and down. We're going to bend the elbows just a little bit. It's not huge because we're going to hold. That's part of it. We're going to keep the knees bent unless you really feel like you want to challenge yourself a little more. But when you lengthen those legs, sometimes you end up lengthening the elbows, which we don't want. Now imagine the shoulders dropping back and down, and imagine the elbows hugging toward each other. You want to feel this work in the triceps, the back of the arm. Only 5 more seconds because triceps tend to tire quickly. For 4 and 3. You got it. Breathe through it. 2. Last one. And then gently come up. We're going to sit on the chair. Does that sound nice? We're going to sit on the chair on the band. A little overhead tricep work. So make sure your tails are fairly even. This time the grip is between the thumb and the rest of the fingers. We're going to stretch the band overhead, bend it backwards, and push it up. Inhale back, exhale up. Now it's very easy for me to do a couple of things here. Sometimes I like to wing my elbows out wide instead of encouraging them toward each other. Sometimes I like to arch my elbow back. So really gotta rely on the abs for this. Sometimes my shoulders creep way up by my ears, which does change the work. So I want to keep it wide. If the band is annoying you inside of the armpits, it can come to the outside of the arms as well. Keep the work even. Don't rush up or down. Press and pull. 5 more. Here we go. Last 4 and 3. Last 2 and release. Just take that arm work and release it out. Stretch one arm across the chest, hug either above or below the elbow joint. Reach the fingers away from the ear and away from the shoulder. Doing great. Stay here for a breath. And then shake it out and switch sides. Lovely. All right. Let's get back to the legs just for a moment. If you have a small band, now's a good time to use it. If not, don't worry, you'll still get into the work. So we're going to bring this above the ankles. You can use your bar for this. I don't think you necessarily need it. We're going to step out and turn out. Now, we want those heels at least as wide as the shoulders. And then we're going to roll down, dropping the tail between the legs, keeping the femurs rolling open, lifting the arches, coming as low as we can without moving the pelvis into tip or tilt. So nice neutral spine. And if you need to move the pelvis to find it, do that. Now we're just going to stay here. We're going to press the palms forward and hold. So here's your hold. So will the quadriceps get involved? Absolutely. But what we want to find are the rotators. The ones that help us turn out at the hip. So think of the back of your hips working here. If you want more of a challenge, you can lift those heels, hover. Think of your spine as nice and long, stacked up against a brick wall. Breathe into this. If your shoulders feel like they're clenching too hard, bring your hands by your hips. This whole top of the shoulder line should feel relaxed, as should your neck, long and relaxed. Hold and breathe. Don't let anything fall or roll inside. You're almost there. Got about 10 seconds left. Think of the little muscles that you can call into action here. 4, 4, 4, 3, 4, 2. Last one, drop the ankles and stand, or drop the heels, I should say. Turn those toes to parallel. We want to make sure that you're standing on sort of a train tracks here. We're going to sit down to our little squat, and let's work on the left side only. We're going to step out, step in, step back, step forward, step out, in, back, and forward, out, and in. You're staying down, you're staying, and you're pressing out through the hips. Gorgeous. And back. And again, yes, you will feel this work in the legs. Out and in, back and forward. Now stay here. I'm going to take that leg and press it up. So I'm keeping a little bend in my knee. You need to hold on to that bar. Go for it. 4, 8, 7, 6, 5, almost there. 4, 3, 2, 1. Standing release. We're going to repeat. So turn out. Heels as wide as shoulders. Long tail, like a pendulum, like a clock pendulum hanging down between the legs. Pressing the palms forward. maybe lifting those heels. When you're here in the hold, squeeze your glutes together. Feel that. Feel that work. In. There you go. Breathe through it. Heels up or down, but spine lifted, tail neutral. Almost there. Breathe into your work. Let the exhales use your abdominals, right? Feel that transverse abdominis, the lift and the wrap. 4, 3, 2, release and stand. Turn the forward, come a little closer. Bend into that seat. So reach back, right? Tail back like you're sitting in a chair. Let's take the right leg. Step it out and in, back and front. So I have to work really hard here to not rotate. This is my tighter hip, so it wants to turn me when I step back. I'm not gonna let that happen. I'm gonna think about the muscles that are stabilizing me here. I'm challenging them, but they are keeping me very linear. Good. Almost there. Last 3 of these little sneaky steps. Of course, we're sneakily asking the quadriceps to work a lot here. Last one. Gorgeous. From here, we're gonna press the weight into that left foot. Little bent knee presses up through the heels, like this. Remember, hang on to something if you need it. You've got your chair or your bar for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, standing leg on fire, 3, 2, release. Hallelujah, I felt that. Okay, we're gonna put small band aside, back to long band. All right, so now we've got into the biceps and the triceps. We wanna fire the mid-back now. So, I'm gonna stand on that band. Now this one's gonna seem so simple at first. I'm standing with my heels together and toes apart. I'm gonna roll my shoulders back and down, squeeze my glutes, drop my tail. And I'm just gonna press back, drawing the shoulder blades to the spine without arching or sending my hips forward. So squeeze, shoulders to spine, and hold. It's small, it's deceptive. You wanna feel expansion in the chest. You wanna feel very long in both sides of the body. Reach your palms back behind you. It's like you're digging down into the earth. So this is not about the upper trapezius, not about the tucks of the shoulders. This is shoulder blades drawing in towards spine. We're thinking rhomboids, middle trapezius muscles. This is great. You're almost there. Hold for 5 and 4. So the body's really tuning in. 3 to the muscle group we're gonna work in a second. 2, last breath. 1, release that band. We're gonna bring the band across the shoulder blades in the back and under the armpits. So another little, more of a flat back than a chair. So bend those knees as much as you can to get a flat back. Bring the band between the thumbs and the fingers and stretch it out from your shoulders. Thumbs up. You'll have to play with the tension here. Now squeeze the shoulders in toward the spine. You don't want your arms to be ahead of you up here. You want to reach them sort of back and down. Again, squeeze the shoulders to the spine. Small, really deliberate movements here. Keep that tail long, belly lifted, neck relaxed. Squeeze to the spine. If I put my hand between your shoulder blades and your spine, I would feel so much activity. Last 8, 7, you got this. 6 and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You might want to put your hands on your thighs and round, puffing up between the shoulder blades and spinning the elbows out and letting the head relax. That's a sneaky one. You might feel that the next day or 2. All right, beautiful job. So we are going to do some mat work at the end. But before we get to that, we're going to stay standing, do just a little bit of getting the heart rate up. So here we are. We've got the bar to one side, starting in a little V. We'll take the outside leg, the leg away from the bar, out to a 4th position. So we have almost like a Z with the feet. The heel is coming toward the big toe. So inhale here and lift up off the heels. Take that outside leg, lift it up, tap it back, lift it up, tap it. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. So you might want to move the arm as well. Maybe your arms have had enough. It's up to you. You could also stretch out from the shoulder. Here. Now we're going to bend and lift. So I like the arm for this. I'm not really dropping my heels at all, although you could. You could do this with the heels down. You got this. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Turn and face the back of that chair. Slide down into your second. And tiny hops. 8, 7, 6, 5. Almost there. 4, 3, 2, 1. Come to parallel. Step one foot back and switch. So long steps, alternating sides, bending both knees and keeping that spine long. Almost there. Last 4 and 3. Here's 2 and 1. Transition to the other side. Little V, outside foot forward. Arm up, lift up. Take that outside leg, front and back. My standing leg has a lifted heel. And now I'm going to bend both knees, lift. Bend, lift. Coming forward and back. Here's 8 and 6. Almost there. 4 and 2. And finish. Turn to that chair. Little plank. Run with a little more intention. 8, 6, 4, 2, and finish. Gorgeous job. So when we come to the mat, you're going to want your block nearby. Might as well have your band as well. Sip of water, then we'll come down. Continue our work. Okay. So we're going to grab that block. I'm going to show this to you. Block between the knees. You're going to lay on down, find your imprint, and bring those feet into the air. You're going to squeeze in on the block with the knees, but push the edges of the feet out away from the block. And this is just a hold. Make sure your knees stay over your hips and that you keep pulling the tail down between your legs, squeezing everything in toward that block. Arms are relaxed. They can be by your side, under your head. Now this is a hold. So it's natural that we get kind of lazy with it. See if you can scoop the tail so much that your hips almost lift off the mat. Hold. You've got 10 more seconds, breathing through it. 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, and gently release. I'll turn so you can see me now. Let's put the block under the left foot and set up for bridges. So inhale here. On the exhale, pick your hips straight up. You've got one heel elevated, one not. See if you can keep those hips level. Now really squeeze into your left glutes. Bring your right knee into the air and extend it. Pull through your heel down, just in line with the other knee, and lift up. So we're going to do this 10 times on each side. This is 5. Look down the body. 6 and 7. Flex and point. 8. Here's 9. Feel that left foot firmly for 10. Bend the knee. Place the foot down. Roll down through the spine and then slide the block over to the other side. Make sure it's coming in line with the sits bone on the right. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, pick those hips up. Take a minute making sure you're level and even. Front to back and side to side. Push down into the right foot. Squeeze the right glutes, lift that left leg. Exhale, pull down. Inhale, lift up. heel down, toe up. Here's 3. If you feel that low back arching at all, you're taking the leg too low. Last 5 and 4. Really push into the foot. 3 and 2. Last 1. Bend the knee, place the foot down. Roll down through the spine. Maybe you want to hug your knees wide. Rock side to side. Gorgeous. All right, we're gonna roll up. A little more work. So we're getting ready for side plank. That's our first hold. So start in table. Let's take that left leg behind us. Move the right arm in under the shoulder and spin the right foot out. Come up here. Now this may be your side plank, or you may be able to extend that bottom leg long. Now you can cross the feet, or you can stack the feet, or we're gonna stay and hold. Breathe. Make sure you're reaching across your chest, lifting up from the underside of the ribs, keeping nice and neutral in the pelvis, long in the neck for 3 and 2. Last 1. Cross the feet if they're not, bring that foot down, spin around. 6 push-ups. I like to keep my knees down, hands right under the shoulders. Here we go, down and up for 1 and 2. Here's 3. Reach your chest 4, not the chin. 5. 1 more. 6. Now extend that right leg, swivel to the left, come up to the other side. Stay here for your side plank, or extend that bottom leg. Crossed or stacked. Make sure hand is right under shoulder. Stay and breathe. Squeeze those inner thighs. You got this. Don't let anything creep up by the ears. Hold for 5 and 4. Here's 3. Last 2 and 1. Bring the knee down. Come back around. Give your wrists a circle if they need it before 6 more push-ups. Okay. Find your plank position. Inhale down. Exhale up. Here's 2 and 3. So if you hug your elbows back, it's more of a tricep push-up. You let your elbows come out, it's more of a chest push-up. And that was already 6. I tried to distract you. I hope it worked. All right, beautiful job. We have 2 more rounds of holds and work, and then we stretch. All right. Are we ready? So I'm gonna lay away from you again, so you can see this one. So laying down, we're gonna find that strong imprint. The tail pulls down between the legs. The hips roll toward the knees, and we bring the legs up in the air. Now for this one, toes are gonna come together, knees apart, hands outside the knees. On your exhale, curl your head and shoulders up, push your knees into your hands, push your hands into your knees or the outside of your knees, and hold here. Create a lot of effort. The cool thing about the hands being involved is that the neck usually stays quite long and happy. You could do this with your head down. You can still create a lot of work with your head down. Keep lifting the pelvic floor. Draw it up towards your diaphragm. Stay and breathe here. You've got 5 more seconds. For 4, for 3, for 2, and 1. Now keep your legs right where they are. Lower your head and bring your hands behind your head. We still have that little V going on. We're just going to slide the ribs down toward the hips and pulse 20 times. So please don't pull on your head. Let your ribs do this work. Back of the pelvis heavy, that's 10. You're halfway there. 13. Breathe, 14. 15. 5 more. 16. 17. 18. 19. and 20. Hug the knees nice and wide. Relax that head. We're almost there, guys. You're doing awesome. All right. We're going to flip on over again. Last thing. So we're going to come to a little table hover. Now, if your wrists are short, you can do this on your elbows. Otherwise, hands on your shoulders. Knees under your hips or slightly behind. You want to keep this back nice and long, belly strong. Tuck those toes. Now imagine your pelvic floor draws up so much that your knees just float up off the mat. Stay here and breathe. Look down between your hands or slightly in front of them. And you want to be as flat as you can be. The knee hover doesn't lift the hips. We keep those hips right under the, those knees right under the hips, or as I said, slightly behind for a little more of a challenge. Hugging and holding the belly to the spine and breathing. Little hover. Lower is better for 5 and 4. Almost there, 3 and 2. Last one. Give your knees a rest. Come on back, bring the forearms together and release those wrists. And breathe. Gorgeous. All right. We're going to come on out. We're going to tuck those toes, find plank. Inhale, we'll lift the hips up and reach right arm to left leg. Exhale, come out. 10 times to the side. Here's 2. And 3. Pay attention to how low those hips go, right in line with the spine. Here's 4. And 5. Shift the weight back, the tail up. 6. And 7. You can do this. 8. Here's 9. Last one. You can take a break or go right to the other side. Here we go. Up and across for 1. Don't let the hips swivel. Here's 2. And 3. Get away from the hands. Then back to them. 4. Here's 5. And 6. 7. 8. Almost there. 9. Last one. And relax. Gorgeous. Okay. Final hold. Final work. We're going to put it all together. Band and block. Come up to sitting. Block comes in between the knees. Just sit nice and tall. Hold on to the band boat, shoulder width apart. Inhale here. Exhale, tuck and roll behind those sitting bones. Keep lifting your arms. Float your legs up to a hover. You could have straight knees or bent. You want to feel like you're in this little boat and almost like if someone came by and just blew on you too hard, that you'd go over. That's what we're going for. Breathe and hold. Almost there. If your hip flexors are screaming, keep those knees bent and squeeze in on that block or towel. 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2. Place the feet down and twist. This is literally at 20 times total. Move those ribs side to side. Gentle pull apart on that band. Let the head follow the work if you can. Breathe through it. That's 10. You're halfway there. That's 14. Turn those ribs. 16. There's 18. And 20. Finish. Woohoo, guys. That was awesome. All right. We're going to stretch. This should feel nice. So, keep your block in hand if you have one. Keep your band nearby. Lower them down to the mat. Lift your hips. Bring the block under the hips for supported bridge. Stay here and just let the front of your pelvis get heavy. And you choose your arm position, but I'd like you to choose one that encourages openness in the chest. So whether that's just palms up, full post arms, or arms overhead. Let the back of the pelvis and the back of the shoulders feel heavy and start to breathe. Boy, guys, we really nailed the timing on that. This is my bar playlist I have on right now. Just switched to the stretching songs like that. Whew. Amazing. All right, from here, make sure your back isn't arching. Hug that right knee into your chest. Give it a nice squeeze. Release the soft tissue in the front of the hip. And then stretch it to the ceiling. Land your hands. Start to pull down through your heels. So flex your ankle, toes toward your nose. And keep reaching that leg away from you until you feel a stretch in the front of the right hip into the hip flexor. You might land to the ground, but that also might pull you into a tilt. So hang on in the belly and see how low you can go before you find a stretch. To be honest with you, I prefer not to land my heel because the second I do, I relax into the joints too much and my SI joint feels pulled. So if I keep my leg alive and active, then I'm not just hanging out in the sockets. One more breath. And then bend that knee and return that foot. Hug your left knee in toward your chest. Again, with the goal of sort of releasing the front of the hip, extend to the ceiling. And start to pull down through your heel. And the lower your heel gets, the more your pelvic floor should rise to support that long lever away from your center. And the second you start to feel the arch, dial it back. You might be able to get a little more stretch by activating the abs more, but you might not ever make it to the mat. Breathe. Weight the back of that pelvis evenly, left to right. One more breath here. And then bend the knee. Make sure that the block is under your sacrum. You got a little pillow too, or like I said, a towel or a rolled up mat. We're coming to happy baby, so we're gonna bring the knees way up toward the armpits. And see, you might be able to just hang on here, or you might be able to reach up and grab the outsides of the feet. Your neck should feel long. You could shake your head yes or no with ease. Stack your heels over your knees. Let your knees fall down toward your armpits. And keep that low back long. Nice long breaths here. Ah, that feels good. One more. Beautiful. And then gently release. Bring the legs straight up in the air and just let the back of the pelvis relax for 1 minute. This is a variant on legs up the wall, which feels nice. It sort of feels like weightless, like you're floating around in outer space. That's the goal. Let the legs feel like you're not holding them up for a change. One more breath. And then bend those knees. You can lift and move the block. I'm going to take the band, hook it over the ball of the right foot, and then stretch that leg to the ceiling. You can hold it with just the right side. And first reach the leg away from you. And then with a nice long tail, so try not to tuck, holding onto your neutral, keep that leg long. Good. And just see where you land. You want to feel it behind the hamstring, but maybe even into the calf. You can play with a bend in the knee, but sometimes it's nicer to keep the leg a little further away and straight. One more big breath here. Now we're going to extend the opposite leg long. We're going to take the right toes and turn them across the body so you feel your femur bone turn toward your midline, and then take the band into the left hand. Now without lifting your right hip, just bring the leg across the body and see if you can feel the IT band. It's often tight for us. You can bend your knee a little too if you feel too much on the outside of the knee. But that IT band that stretches from knee to hip can get pretty tight. Land your right hand. And once you've just allowed for that stretch, maybe you want to roll all the way and take a spinal rotation. Turn your head back to the right, your right palm to the ceiling, and enjoy that twist in the waist. One more deep breath in here. And then use your exhale, hug your belly in to come back to center. I like to switch my feet in the air. I find it so much easier. I'm landing my right foot either long or bent. And I'm going to reach that left leg away from me, holding the band in the left hand, and then start to lift that leg long toward the ceiling. And I'm going to just be honest with myself about where I need to stop. Still feel a long leg without tucking my tail and without straining the knee. I feel this in the belly of the hamstring, but also down into the calf muscles. One more big breath here. I'm going to straighten that right leg if it's not. Take the tails in the right hand, left hand to mat. I'm going to turn that femur bone across my body so it happens with the hip, and then start to reach the leg across without lifting here. I'm staying grounded in the back of my pelvis, and I'm getting a really big stretch here. If you're a runner, a cyclist, a walker, anything where you really use your legs, the IT band is often sort of tight or overworked. One more breath here, remembering it shouldn't be so much about the knee, but long connection from hip to knee. And then turning my left palm up, I'm going to let the weight of my leg encourage spinal rotation to the right. Gaze back to the left, turning my palm up, anchoring my shoulder away from the heavy leg. And breathing into that torso. Oh, feels so good. One more big breath here. And then I'm going to use the exhale to bring the leg up and the abs back to the center. Releasing that band. I'm going to turn around to one side and push my way up into little mermaid legs. So here I am. I'm trying to get sort of equal weight into the sitting bones, which is hard with tight hips. Left arm down if my feet are to the right. Inhale, right arm up. And then once I set it in the shoulder socket, I'm going to fan the ribs open, dropping the elbow so I can get a little more arch. Fanning the ribs open to the ceiling. One big breath in here. And then I'll press into that right palm and lift that arm, and then turn my chest toward the mat and stretch through the fingertips on the left. They don't need to hit the mat. See what works for you. You want to feel broad across your back and your shoulders, and a nice bit of rotation. One more breath, still anchoring the left hip. And then I'll lift back to that lateral bend and come up. I'm going to bring my hands behind me, fingers forward or out to the sides. Inhaling here, and I'm going to lift my hips straight up. I'm going to present my right hip forward a little more than the left to stretch the quadriceps. So it's this long leg, hip forward. Gaze is coming up to where the wall meets the ceiling, and then I'll slowly lower down and swivel to the other side. Setup is important. So again, trying to be as evenly grounded as possible. Bring a hand a little ways away from the hip, sweeping my right arm up this time, setting it in the socket, and then dropping that left elbow. I'm fanning the ribs. So this big stretch. And if you could imagine even breathing a little extra breath into the lungs on this side of the body, sort of feel like I can find little nooks and crannies that aren't always available to me and really open up my lungs. One more big breath. Then I'll push into this left hand on the mat and lift my ribs and turn my torso and my gaze down toward the mat, stretching my fingers away from that back anchored hip. One more big breath. Nice and broad across the back, and then coming back to lateral before I lift up. Hands behind my hips, inhaling here. Exhale to press and lift. This time I'm presenting my right hip forward a little more than the left so that those quadricep muscles can get nice and long as I turn my gaze up for the ceiling. One more deep inhale here, and then exhale as I drop it down. I'll swivel around onto my hands and knees. One nice long extension, so I'm going to reach the tail behind me, continue to feel a lift in the belly, and then stretch my heart forward, my collarbones, smile, my gaze tips up. From here, I'll tuck my toes and let this lifted tail lead me up and back to downward facing dog, where I'll pedal the heels a little bit, moving through the ankles and just stretching the back of the calf muscles. One more breath here. And then I'll walk my hands back toward my feet. I'm gonna bend into the knees and take the arms behind the back, clasping the hands together and reaching the knuckles away from my ears. So I'm nice and long. One more breath here. On an inhale, I'll drop the hands, sweep them in front of the chest, As I rise to stand, setting the ribs and shoulders down. Bringing my heels together, inhaling to lift for a final balance, exhaling to land my heels, and inhaling to lift my heart. I release. Thank you so much. What great work you've done. Awesome.